All right, guys, welcome to the Media Hijack Podcast. I'm your host, Billy Walters, and joining me is Chris, Unholy Jesus. Yeah.
Welcome back, family. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day. Welcome back to another episode of the Media Hijack Podcast, episode 218. Before we get started, if you guys want to get some official Media Hijack t-shirts, you can head over to the MediaHijack.com, grab you some official t-shirts, and then also if you guys want to catch the replay for this live Twitch video, you can head over to YouTube.com. Catch the replay for the live live Twitch video. And then also don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Give us that 5-star frog splash. We need all the ratings that we can get. We've been here for many years. Give us a 5-star, 4-star. Don't give us a 3-star.
Don't do it. We'll hate you.
Yeah, we'll call you out on TikTok.
Straight up.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, first topic of the night, we're going to be talking about the Sackler family. People that's behind the OxyContin back from way back then, before they got the whole America hooked on opioids.
Hell yeah. Like straight junkies.
Yeah, like, Jesus. This was like the start of like a downfall of, I would say, like the world, right? Like they got everybody hooked on these painkillers.
Yeah,
or would you say it was just America?
America right now is like modern day, like the biggest epidemic for it. But yeah, opioids have been around for like, long time, man. Maybe even before Jesus. Opioids always been getting pushed around and used across the world by different types of civilizations. Because once they discovered how addictive it was like, oh yeah, we can make money off of it. So it's bounced around throughout the world's history on who have been profiting of it and who's been pushing it on people. Because even China's had their own epidemic of opioid crisis too. Shit, way before it even got to America, before it hit America as hard as it did. So, yeah, man, crazy times.
So what was like China's version of like a painkiller?
So there's two, if I'm not mistaken, which is opium, I think was what they had back in the day. But that was when it was really popping. And that's when, because opioids, example, they for one, they originate from the poppy flower. Anybody knows anything about these poppy flowers? They're really popular. They've been around since, actually, this has been around since the King Tut era. The first time it was ever recorded of actually ever being used were Egyptians, which they were selling across the Mediterranean Sea, the sea. So yeah, opioids been around for a long time, and eventually, like around the 16th century, that's when they started creating like these making opioids into like black pills, and it was always calling like the stones of immortality. Because throughout history, like I said, there's always been like groups or corporations always trying to push this drug throughout different points of time in world's history and in different societies and whatnot and cultures. And like I said, 16th century, they're trying to push out the stone, it's called the stones of immortality. Basically, just pushing out in the market, like, hey, folks, you want to be immortal, you want to feel no pain, and take this, and and always being marketed. And like I said, it split over in China not long after that, and that's when they had that opium epidemic where they was going to war with England over it. That's how crazy opioid has been throughout history. Like people are have gone to war over this drug just so it can control the profits and push it on their people. So it sounds like none of these world governments at the end of the day are good guys in the situation, because at the end of the day, it sounds like all these governments and all these these pharmaceutical companies on a global scale have all been at some level have been pushing it out to the public, just throughout history. So
I see.
Pretty nasty drug.
Yeah, tell us about this Sackler family, man, because I know they're like notorious, infamous family known for bringing this drug to like the masses.
Yeah. So the Sackler family, they're actually described as some people have said the most evil family in American history.
Damn.
And the worst drug dealers in all of history. Up to this point, in the year of 2025, there's actually more than 400,000 Americans that have died from opioid overdoses, including some 200,000 from prescription opioids. For one example, this documentary I was watching leading up to today's episode is on HBO Max, and it's called Crime of the Century. And it's a 2-part documentary series, and basically talks about how the Sackler family just completely ravaged the American country from see this shining sea, they created an epidemic that went spiraling out of control, and they never took accountability for it. But a lot of people that was getting addicted and dying from these overdoses of opioids. For example, there's one lady named Carol. She got into a car accident one day, driving to I think she's like going to Walmart or Kmart or some shit. But she got into a really bad car accident and messed her neck all up. She had to get pins inserted in her neck, the whole shebang bang. And so after her surgery and everything, when she was in a lot of pain, a friend of hers was like, hey, I know something that could probably help out your pain. You should try OxyContin. First, she started taking OxyContin, take away pain. It was working. But then her husband kept finding her around the house in all these weird places. Like she was laying on top of just basically on top of laundry piles of clothes and stuff that's in a basket. He would just find her underneath the table, passed out. And the husband got concerned and was like, hey, babe, I'm finding you all over the house. You passed out in these weird positions. And Carol, she didn't believe it at first. So when the husband started taking pictures of her and showed her the pictures, like, hey, this OxyContin you're taking is getting you really high and is making you act out of your normal range. She saw the pictures, like, hey, I'm gonna go get some help. She went to the hospital called Life Tree Hospital, which is where they prescribed a lot of opioids at, and which is where another place that the Sackler family had control over in some type of way, just through pharmaceutical industry. And she went there and was like, hey, I don't want to take these medicines. I don't take this medicine anymore. And when she denied it, they were like, well, no, you know what? You're just tripping. You're going to just take this medicine anyways, and you need to listen to me because I'm your doctor. And so the doctor kept pushing on her, and she kept taking it. And she eventually wound ODing off the shit. And so she's just one of the many hundreds, if not probably thousands of families at this point that's going out there trying to sue the Sackler family for this. It's like, hey, you made her, my family, my loved one, an addict, and they died at the end of the day for it. And it's just crazy how it spread this fast, but because the Sackler family, they've always been in this pharmaceutical game, man, from way back, way before even my parents was even here. But so going back then,
let's say the 1950s, right?
Yeah, actually the 1950s is when they started popping up, but it was actually three brothers that started it. It was Arthur, Mortimer, and Raymond Sackler, three children of Jewish immigrants from Galicia and grew up in Brooklyn in the 1930s. So all of the siblings, they wound up going to a Creedmoor Psychiatric Center in Queens. That's where they got their medical degrees and whatnot at. And then they also they were often cited as early pioneers in medication techniques which ended the common practices of lobotomies, which is good because lobotomies back then were awful, bro. They was just chiseling through underneath people's eyeballs into the brain.
A lobotomy is so crazy, dude.
Insane. So while they did do some good things when they first started, they were also regarded as the first to fight the racial integration of blood banks, because back then when America was extra crispy racist, and they didn't want black people nowhere near white people, and they didn't want black people nowhere near white people, including in blood banks. They didn't want black blood with white blood.
Get your blood out of here, big dog.
Black blood. But the Sackler brothers, they fought for that too. They're like, hey, blood is blood. People need it no matter what. Don't make it a racial thing. So that's only the good thing I heard about what they did, because for the most part, these guys were straight scammers for the most part. Mainly Arthur, his main agenda was to straight up just push the product. Every time he was going out there to push the product of any type of medication.
Yeah.
He would go out there, song and dance, do everything, man, shucking and jiving, and it was working. He was a good salesman, and he was getting just hospitals and all these companies just to buy their shit.
Exactly. It's so from what I read, this dude Arthur, he was a marketing genius, right?
Yeah,
he was able to convince doctors to saying this drug is totally safe, it's not addictive, right? Spoiler alert, it was highly addictive. So this dude Arthur, he killed it on his presentation on how he was delivering this drug, saying, hey, it's safe, it's not addictive, push it out to your patients.
You guys are good to go.
And this was in the 1950s.
Yep. And mind you too, this is before OxyContin came out, but still Arthur was still pushing shit before it ever got to this point. And even though Arthur winds up actually dying way before, not way before, but sometime before Purdue, the Sackler family got involved with Purdue, and then Purdue actually wound up pushing out OxyContin. Even though Arthur wasn't around for that, he set up the blueprint on how in the 90s, when they started marketing OxyContin to the public, they did exactly what their grandfather was doing, just out there hitting the road, marketing it, and it was working, and everyone was buying the product. And wasn't even getting FDA approved, if I'm not mistaken either. That shit was just getting passed right through and being shoved out there into the market.
You know the crazy thing about like these drugs, right? How do you actually test these drugs? Like, do you have like a bunch of people that come in and then you give them this drug, which could be like super highly addictive, and then you go from there? That's how you get like you know, like the base of like if this drug is like bad or good for consumption.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's got to press, like, I'm no expert on this stuff, but I'm assuming it has to go through like an FDA type approval before it can actually go out there to be distributed to the public, especially if it's medication. I know things such as like protein stuff or any type of like whey or any type of supplements, I guess. I heard from my understanding with those, they don't go through any type of FDA type of regulation, and that's why it's kind of like some people will say, "Hey, we take these supplements, be careful," because a lot of them are like don't ever get approved by the FDA, where medications that you have to take have to. So that's what I'm saying with OxyContin. It had to probably get approved by the FDA, but it's like, if it did, how much power and influence did they put into it for it to get passed? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it like? Did the FDA just completely just drop the ball on this, or did it just like, hey, you know, we'll take some cuts on the table from Sackler to push this out there? I don't know.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, with this whole story with the Sackler family, right? Like, I read that they bought the whole Purdue Pharma. I think it was like in 1952, right? So they control the whole Purdue Pharma company.
Yes, from top to bottom.
Yeah, and then like decades later, in 1996, this is the birth of OxyContin.
Yes.
Which was in 1996.
Yes.
The miracle painkiller from Purdue Pharma.
Yeah. Hit the market running, man. So like Purdue Pharma, when they started kicking off the whole OxyContin thing, the OxyContin epidemic, they really kind of just went like. I'm messing up. Sorry, where's my shit at? Okay, so
there it is.
When Purdue Pharma actually started getting OxyContin out there to the public in the 90s, and I just found this out the other day. Even though they were the pharmaceutical company that was pushing it, their main supplier, the kingpin of the drug, was actually Johnson & Johnson.
Oh,
Johnson & Johnson is the biggest. Johnson & Johnson, yes, the same company that gave your kids cancer from the baby powder. The same one I was trying to push that COVID pill out there that was
you
giving
can't
people
just say
blood.
that. That's wild. But go ahead.
Yeah, my bad. Oh, I haven't said that in a long time. My bad. The COVID pill. Well, with that not the pill, but with it, whatever they was. Do you know what they're trying to do during that era?
Right.
The same company that has always been shiesty. They are the big game. They're the ones. They're the kingpins of the opioid game, and so that's how Purdue was able to get a lot of their opium. In fact, Johnson & Johnson not too long ago just made a super opium drug. So they got something out there that's even crazier than the fentanyl that's out there right now.
What is it?
Where is it?
Yeah, what is it? What's the name?
I don't know. I just heard about it. It's like they got like a super opioid drug out there right now that they've been pushing, and it's been marketing even faster. And they're saying like, because like opioid is supposed to, because the OG drug before opioid, back in like Vietnam, was like what the hell was it called? I forget the name of it right now. Morphine. Thank you, morphine.
Morphine.
Was,
yeah.
Morphine was like the drug that was for painkillers back then, and then opioids came around, and it became like, oh shit, this hits the brain even faster than anything morphine has ever done. And now they got something that can hit the brain even faster now that surpasses that of OxyContin. But with all that being said, though, actually just yesterday, Johnson & Johnson, they actually tried to file for like a bankruptcy, trying to dodge all these damn 400,000+ lawsuits against them because of the baby powder incident. Like they had cancer, it was giving babies cancer. Mm-hmm. They still trying to dodge all these charges right now. And they try to use bankruptcy to dodge these lawsuits, but thank God some judge out there was like, no, you can't, Johnson & Johnson. You got to take responsibility for all the cancer, ovarian cancer you gave to these babies.
Exactly, dude.
Thank you, Judge. I'm glad somebody doing a job out there.
You know what's crazy with Johnson & Johnson? Nobody would even think that Johnson & Johnson was responsible for any type of like malpractice or like
given like a trusted source.
Yeah, it was like, dude, the logo was a trusted source. Like when I saw that on the baby shampoo where it says no more tears, I trust that shit. I trust that when I put that shampoo on, I could open my eyes and I could take a shower with my eyes open.
Yes, tearless soap. I was like, this is
yeah, the whole world. Dude. When I was a kid, I was like, bet, let's try this. I forced my mom to buy it for me. And, I have an Asian mom. She's like, I'm not going to buy this expensive soap. I was like, one time, big dog. Just buy it one time. I'm doing a science experiment. Like, she buys it because she's like, you're not a baby. So she still buys it, right? And I test that shit out in the shower. I had my eyes open. I was like, oh, it doesn't burn. I was like, oh shit, I trust Johnson & Johnson. And then you grow up as an adult, like, oh, Johnson & Johnson is involved in all this criminal shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Straight
shocked.
Up.
Yeah, I'm
Our
shocked.
whole lives, they've been a criminal organization.
They lied to me, Bob says powder causes cancer.
Yes. This is what we're talking about, Johnson & Johnson.
That's all she typed in the chat.
What up?
Yeah, it's like, no LOL, no nothing. She's like, legit? Powder causes cancer. They paid the lawsuit.
Yes, Bob. I was just telling Billy that. They're saying like, yes, it actually happened yesterday. Yeah, they just paid a $10 billion lawsuit. After
when you say yesterday, you're talking about April 1st, right? 2025?
Yes.
Just in case this episode, it blows up 10,000 years later.
Right? Yeah, it says just yesterday, a U.S. bankruptcy judge on Monday rejected Johnson & Johnson's $10 billion proposal to end tens of thousands of lawsuits, alleging that its baby powder and other talc products cause ovarian cancer, making the third time the company's bankruptcy strategy has failed in court. So they've tried to dodge this shit three times.
Three times.
And the judges are like, nah, you'll be held accountable for this. Killing all these babies. Get them. Get every last one of them.
So they got them. They got them.
Got them, man. And then, but right quick though,
damn.
Watching like all this stuff. Watching all this stuff about what the Sackler family and opioid crisis though, it does take me back to a time from when I was a child. Now, granted, I don't remember this entire area. I was born in '85. I just remember like a little tiny little bit of it, but I do remember seeing the crack epidemic through the eyes of a tiny little toddler, little baby, little kid,
a little
man.
Boomer toddler.
Yeah, and I remember just being in Baltimore and it just being so dystopian, like just junkies on the corner, and it was just like everything just seemed so bleak out there. And I remember one time coming back from the doctor's office, and I was holding my mom's hand, and she had my sisters with her too. We were going up the steps, and this dude was like trying to break into the apartment.
What? To your apartment?
Yes, this is like I was in Baltimore, like 1989 or something, 1990, whatever. And this dude's trying to break into the apartment. He's shaking the door, and he turns back and he sees us. Thank God he didn't attack us because he looked junked out, anyways. But thank God he didn't attack us. I think it's because my mom had kids. Some sense kicked in his brain. He just like ran, pushed us out the way, and he kept on going. Yeah. So I remember a time where like, what a little slither of what the crack epidemic looked like. I say that to say this, and not to make this like too much of it to a racial thing. I'm just making an observation of the whole situation. But something like this with the opioid epidemic is really hitting the white community the most out of any community. I mean, I've read stuff too where it's been hitting reservations where Native Americans live at. It has sprinkled to other parts of communities, but especially the white community, it is shredded apart. And I always felt like the crack epidemic was like the blueprint for the opioid crisis, because how the crack epidemic even went down in the first place, which was government funded, where they put drugs in the black community and tore up homes and everything to shreds. To even to this day, the crack epidemic literally just put a fucking bullet in the black community's knees, and it made it hard for us to even move forward to do anything else. When you don't have a household anymore because drugs tore it apart, it's hard to raise a kid, and it's hard for these kids to become productive adults when they come from a world of such tragedy. And I always felt like Jay-Z once said in a song, they call the projects a project because it's a project. And so, and a lot of times in the black community, a lot of these weird government experiments, like poisoning of the water, all this types of weird shit happens in the black community all the time, which creates a lot of black conspiracy theorists out there, because there's always weird government stuff going on. And then when you see it happening to the rest of the world, it's like, oh my God, like we would have kind of the testing grounds for this shit. And that's why I see with the opioid epidemic, I'm like, man, the crack epidemic was just as brutal as this. And I feel like it was almost kind of like, okay, if we can get away with it here with these people, let's kind of up the ante, and then, okay, let's really make a profit off of it. Because we can see, look, no one was ever held accountable for any of that war on drug shit in the 80s. No amount of DARE programs they threw in our face and all that stuff. There was no one in the government ever held accountable for how them drugs got into the black community and destroyed everything. So I always felt like, well, if you weren't going to punish people then, why would you punish them now for doing this with the OxyContin epidemic? So crazy situation to me. Crazy situation. It's all connected in my brain. It's like, okay, let's test it on these people, and then, okay, now we can do it. It works. Let's up the ante and let's do it on another group of people, because they're sure they're not going to be held accountable for it when they do these things. So, like, shout out to these judges that's actually trying to keep them from wiggling out from these damn lawsuits, because that's what they all keep trying to do. Even the Sacklers tried to wiggle out of a lawsuit too. Not too long ago, back in 2019, they tried to file a lawsuit too. They tried to claim Chapter 11. Not trying to file a lawsuit. They tried to claim Chapter 11, saying like, hey, what we did, that's not our fault. It's the people's fault. It's not the drugs' fault. It's the people's fault, which I think is bullshit. Because this is what the Sacklers were trying to push for years. When the opioid crisis started really like hitting like full speed ahead, their knee-jerk reaction was like, it's not the drugs' fault. It's the people's fault. And I'm like, well, for once, that's complete bullshit, because if these drugs can alter your mind on a chemical level, alter your mind, then the responsibility of the person is completely just left at that point. Now they're under the control of this damn drug, which means a drug that you push to these people, but that's their argument, saying like it's the people's fault. They should be more responsible with what they take. It's not the drug that we push.
Well, you ever went to like the dentist office, right? And then they pull your teeth out, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna prescribe you with some opioids." It happens to be like one of the hardcore opioids, like OxyContin.
Mm-hmm.
And then imagine you just going to get your teeth pulled out, right? But then you got your teeth pulled out, but then you left with getting an addiction to a drug that they prescribe you with.
Yes, and you have no idea you're addicted. Now, like, man, I want to get some more.
Because it tastes good, right?
It makes me feel good. I took Valium after I got my wisdom teeth pulled. And after I ran out of Valium, I was about to go get some more after my teeth had, like, gums all healed up and everything. Getting ready to go to over to the pharmacy to go get some more Valium. And when I was about to walk out the door, I was like, Chris, don't do it. Your shit's healed. It feels good, but don't understand what you're about to do. And I was like, okay, let me go sit down. And then, so I never went. But I had a friend who was in the same situation who injured her leg while I was in the military, and she wound up getting addicted to opioids in the military, and then became, her life went off the rails after she got out the military. It's horrible. I've watched her story throughout Snapchat and everything about her descent into this opioid madness. And it's like, holy shit.
Damn.
You got addicted in the military. You got addicted in the military. Because you can get...
Dude, that's the crazy thing about that drug, dude. Like, because any doctor can, prescribe you with that drug, right? But then, once you start taking it, dude, that's like fair game.
Straight up, man. And then blame
Anybody can get way more, and then they get super addicted. I know some people addicted to that drug, and it's scary.
I don't know too many, but I have a friend who they used to work at this place called BHG, which is Behavioral Health Group, and so it's straight up just an opioid clinic. And so when opioid addicts are coming in, the clinic administers opioids to them, but every time they come in, they give them a less and less dose, because they find out the reason why a lot of these people ODing is because they're either just stopping completely or just overdoing it. And it's like, well, if we can do anything, let's try to control how they come down from the drug. So they started implementing these more in a lot of these hard hit communities, like in Tennessee, and I heard all the way up in Maine and stuff. That's really getting, and West Virginia and Vermont. Those type of states are really getting ravaged by the opioid epidemic. BHGs, they give you, your shot, and they, just slowly bring you down. So every time you come in, you get a less and less dose until your dose is finally done, and then, you can go back to try to be a productive member of society afterwards, since you're, not a junkie anymore. But yeah, it's crazy they got a facility to bring you down off of like opioids. Never seen that ever in history of this country, ever. That's how bad this shit's gotten.
Dude, it's real bad. Bob says only when you snort it or inject it. You know the crazy thing about that, right? It's like okay, you get this drug, right? Like, let's say, like, for example, let's just take the opioids out the picture. Let's say like Adderall, right? You take Adderall for like a year. Like you take like, let's say like 10 milligrams of Adderall or shit. It doesn't hit as hard like after like a year. Until like you hit your second year and like, oh shit, I have to up my Adderall like up to 30 milligrams, right? Then let's say you up to 30 milligrams, you take Adderall, and it's like, oh shit, okay, this is like my dose right here because I'm feeling super good. I can get all my work done. But then like it comes a time where like you can take 30 or 60 milligrams of Adderall, it still doesn't help you, and you're like, holy shit. How can you get more high than what you're getting high off from like pharmaceutical medication, right? Like legit medication. This is not street shit. So the other thing people were doing, maybe Bob knows about this, like they started like crushing, the medicine. Crushing the medicine, then snorting it to get like a different type of high. Or either like they crushed it or they inject it or some shit. But they do like new shit because they're not just taking it through like their mouths anymore. They're like snorting it or they're doing some other shit to get that high because they apparently they can't get that high. Even taking like 30 or 60 milligrams of Adderall.
All right,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No. You continue. I'm sorry. My bad.
So I'm saying like so like if that doesn't work for you, right? You always go for like more harder drugs, right?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, you're going to up it every time.
I think the next step will be like heroin or some shit like that. Or like cocaine or something.
I can see that.
Which I never went that far. But it's crazy because I had that thought. That thought was in my head, dude. But I never went that far. That's why I'm still here. Like we're still doing the episode of the podcast.
There's a universe where Billy, he took it to the next level.
I for sure 100%. Like 1,000 of them took like the next step. For sure, 100%. I believe that.
Oh man, I've only took Adderall once, and that shit had me so jittery. I didn't like it. I couldn't shut up. I was like, this is
dude.
too much.
When I did it, I completed like two different classes that I was taking. I was taking a college tech class, and I was taking like a class where you basically you did a whole bunch of coding for computers and stuff like that. Finished both class, dude. Like it was nothing because I was on that drug and that shit. I completed all the courses 100% and everything. I was like, holy shit. I even built like 2 different apps. I was like, damn. I was like, I'm on a roll, but it has its drawbacks, dude.
Damn.
Yeah, and I'm still dealing with the drawbacks. Yeah, but I'm still here.
Damn, man, that's scary though. That's why, like, I remember even just being in the military, how if you was just like, I have a headache, you could, or whatever excuse you got, you go to pharmacy, show your military ID, get you processed, and then they'll give you whatever the fuck you need, as long as you can be a robot to the system. They will give you whatever you need, man. And that's how you'd be surprised how many people come out the military junkies or just like straight up like go straight to homelessness because they've been on a drug probably the entire time, just so you can keep your robot in the military.
Yeah. So I can only imagine like the addiction, like with this painkiller, where it just eliminates like all your pain. Like let's say you have like the worst back pain ever, right? And then you rely on a drug to eliminate that back pain. But on top of that, you create like a new addiction to that back pain. And then let's say like the doctor, they can't prescribe you that shit no more, right? So where do you go? You go to the streets, dude.
The street. I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, they're like, fuck, what's the alternative for this? Because I can't get prescription for this medication no more. You have to go to the streets. That's why, like, this whole crisis on the opioids is so huge. Just because, like you were saying, like, it didn't just affect like the minorities. Like, it was affecting like white people, dude. And they're like, "Fuck, this shit's fucking us up too." like what the fuck? Like,
it's like they get fucked up, we gonna get fucked up. Like,
yeah, like the white people are getting fucked up. That's why, like, they're like, "Holy shit, dude! Like, what's happening?" Like, it got weird all the way to like 2019, right? When Purdue was drowning in like all the legal troubles and the files and all, they went into like bankruptcy, like pretty much.
Yeah, they filed Chapter 11, and because these assholes, they didn't want to take responsibility for any of this. They filed for Chapter 11, and so basically with the Chapter 11 that they were trying to do was actually it was called a what was it called? It was actually called oh shit, let me see. I forgot, I missed it. That's in my notes somewhere. But my bad. They, with the Chapter 11 that they tried to go for, they were basically trying to get all these charges, well, not all these charges, but all these lawsuits. They were saying, like, hey, out of like all these lawsuits that are coming at us, we'll pay this amount of money, but after this, we can't take any more lawsuits because we're filing for bankruptcy. Because since the corporation filed for bankruptcy, Purdue filed for bankruptcy, all the Sackler kids decided to kind of like branch off their own little thing and then collect some money somewhere else. But only the basically company became a shield for them,
right.
And so they was almost able to dodge all these lawsuits coming their way. But it just came out that the Supreme Court actually stepped up and blocked that shit, saying that no, you cannot use your Chapter 11 bankruptcy to get out of this. Y'all all need to be held responsible. Thank God for this damn Supreme Court actually did something. This Supreme Court is awful. This is one of the few things they've actually done. So they've stopped them for now. I don't know whether the wiggle room they got left for the Sackler family, but they're constantly trying to get out of this and say, like, hey, this isn't our fault. This is their fault. They're saying, oh, we're getting death threats now, and what about our lives? We're suffering in this $1 million mansion that I live in. Don't you see? I'm hurting. I'm the victim here. Because they're trying to play the victim role right now. They're trying to play victim.
Yeah, because I heard like the Sackler family, right? They agreed to the multi-billion-dollar settlement. But like, here's the kicker for the whole story: they don't admit to doing anything that was wrong. No wrongdoing
At all.
That was wild about that, like the whole case and shit. Of course they agreed to pay billions, not millions, billions of dollars in settlements. Billions. But they're like, hey, like at the end of the day, like, hey, we didn't do nothing wrong. We didn't do nothing wrong, big dog. Like, you know, like, this is like, people were asking for this medication. And what's crazy, it's still ongoing. Even like, even if like this family was like, you know, they got the book thrown at them. Like the whole crisis with the opioids, it continues.
Yeah.
Because they just like, this is like their legacy, like basically, right? Even though they stop it, it still continues. Like somebody else is continuing this opioid crisis.
Man, for generations. They
just started this shit, but somebody else is continuing. You know?
Yeah. Opioids is still being pushed, man. I mean, look, I remember back when I was still in the military, I used to hear stories from other military members about like, hey, you know, they would tell me this. Now, probably conspiracy. It could be a little bit of both, real or conspiracy. But what I remember hearing far back when that, hey, man, you know, the reason why we actually got in the war with Afghanistan is because the poppy fields out there.
Yeah.
They got a lot of poppy fields. And
that.
I think we talked about it before, too. We probably talked about it a long time ago. But, yeah, so it kind of makes sense. It's like, oh, shit, y'all really just trying to everyone's trying to control. Could this be the most populous drug on the planet? I mean, it's been around for this long. Civilizations have gone to war over this. Nations have gone to war over this drug. It's like, what do these people in power know about this drug? Like, do they know it's like, hey, it's the best way to control the masses or something? Or what is their obsession with wanting to get this? To feel like they need to go to wars over and then make people into slaves, because they have slaves out there in poppy fields in India and Afghanistan out there, you know, get them out the field and then send them over to across, you know, distributing it out there and whatnot, and America getting their hands on it. And I feel like it feels like the powers that be are all in on this whole opioid crisis at times. I think in every country, but America especially got it bad right now.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. Yeah,
definitely elitist weapon.
Yeah, like the whole shit, like the whole poppy seed stuff, right? Like, there was like other stories where in Afghanistan they were growing like poppy seeds, right? And then if Afghanistan, they were using like that place as like one of the places where they were like distributing like all these drugs from their poppy seed plant, right? Like if they're growing poppy seeds, of course they're gonna extract that and then throw it into all these other different countries, and they're gonna make it into like whatever drug they want. But it came like from Afghanistan, and then the thing is, like the U.S., they were out in Afghanistan. They were the one that's out there like controlling this whole poppy field shit. Is that not weird?
Very strange.
That has to be weird, right? Like
we were told it was because of Osama bin Laden, but my conspiracy brain be thinking, hey, what if the U.S. orchestrated 9/11 just so it can get a poppy field?
That'd be crazy as fuck. Yeah.
Just have reason to send an army over there. Because in reality, you're not going to get nobody go over there in this country to go fight for no damn poppy field. But if you orchestrate a terrorist attack, you get people to rally around it and be like, let's fight for freedom. Not even realize they fighting and dying for poppy fields.
I mean, here's what I think. That was like part of like a little piece of it, but it wasn't like the whole big picture. Like they're like, all right, we're just gonna get this down. We're gonna do the poppy seed. Like, imagine that was like the main thing where they were gonna do like this whole 9/11 shit because of that little thing. I think it's like way bigger than that. I think it has to do with like the whole economy, like how they wanted to control like the banks in the Middle East and stuff.
Oh hell yeah!
They wanted to control the banks of all those countries, dude.
They're trying to get all.
Yeah,
of them,
so they can make like one banking system for like the whole world. Which they're very close to doing right now.
Yeah, it's getting scary.
Put your seatbelt on, buckle up, cause it's shit. In the next 2 years, it's gonna be a wild ride, man. I tell you that right now. Man, if you got a trip booked for Hawaii, go there right now. Go get on that infinite little slide. Go slide
enjoy
down.
Yourself.
Wee. Yeah. Because what's crazy, right? Like, remember, not remember, but I guess a few days ago, Thailand got hit with a huge earthquake.
Yeah, so whatever happened with that? I remember hearing about it. I didn't really read too much.
It's horrible, dude. It's huge. Not just like Thailand, but Myanmar got hit really bad too. And then a lot of all the tourist areas, it all got fucked up, dude. Yeah, so like whoever was like traveling over there at that time, like they got a bad dose of something you did not expect. Because, I mean, is Thailand even known for getting earthquakes?
I think everything out there in, was it the Eastern, what was it, like the Pacific Island areas type stuff? I think all prone to get like tsunamis and earthquakes because they're just islands. They were created by earthquakes and volcano activity in the first place. So I'm pretty sure they all get it on some type of level, or at least that region does, but you don't hear too much. I mean, you hear more shit from Japan than Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand, for sure, they get like hit with like the tsunamis and stuff from earthquakes and stuff. But what's crazy with that big earthquake that hit like Thailand, there wasn't no big tsunamis that's flooding the area.
Right, that's usually what follows. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, where's the tsunamis?
Right.
So the earthquake has to hit like in the ocean for it to create tsunamis.
That's what I always thought. I thought because like if you're on a coast, sometimes the earthquakes happen with the tectonic plates happen in the ocean, and I think that's when it creates tsunamis.
Oh.
On the ground itself, I don't think so. Because we get earthquakes out on like let's take the place like for example, Tennessee actually gets earthquakes now. Not strong ones, but they have been getting earthquakes. I think those might be more of man-made because of digging for oil, not so much as like a natural reaction of the planet.
Right.
I mean, but they get earthquakes, so I mean, I don't know. They can happen in any environment, but I think the ocean might be the most deadliest place because you get hit with earthquake, and then you get drowned, and it's like, damn, I'm just trying to recover from. I just climbed out my house.
Yeah. Okay, so the weird thing is, right, is like they did get hit with earthquake, but only like the ground areas got affected. It wasn't like a tsunami or nothing. Like it wasn't an earthquake that created a tsunami. It was like an earthquake that basically happened underneath like Thailand.
Yeah.
Right? And that shit looked crazy as hell, dude. Because there's like hotels that was like shaking, and there's hotels with like pools. You know, they have like swimming pools on top of the deck and shit.
Oh no!
Like those infinite pools.
I know exactly what
They
you're
were
talking about.
throwing all the water off of the buildings. I was like, holy shit! Imagine being in the infinite pool, right? Living your best life. You're making like Instagram posts. Hey, living my best life, swimming, blue, 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 blue. And then you're fucking off the damn building because the shit shook too much, and you flew over the edge of the building.
New fear unlocked. Straight up, that's new fear.
And then you're like looking at your 360 camera, like YOLO. Done. Splattered.
Man,
Scary.
that's horrifying. That is true. That is truly Final Destination type of death. Like, I don't know, man. So what was it? What was the death count? Do you remember like the death toll for Thailand?
It was not big. It was like from what I heard, it was like maybe 6-7 people died. Like it's mainly from construction sites where they're actually working. Yeah, cranes are falling. It's basically like construction sites where they're actually working on the buildings because the whole building collapsed. It was like,
yeah,
guaranteed there's a bunch of people that was in there. But they said like 6-7 people. I doubt it. I say there's like probably 3 digits on the death count. It's over 100, guaranteed. From what I saw. Crazy?
What? Oh man. Yeah, because I saw the crane fall. I was like, man, yeah, somebody dead.
Yeah, when I saw a whole building that was being constructed that fell to the ground, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of people in there that was still working. Yeah, they're like, I gotta put this, I gotta put this toilet up real quick.
Whoa!
Yeah, nothing but dust.
Man, that's gotta suck.
I gotta take a leak so bad.
All right.
Are we gonna still do the Sackler family?
I think I'm done with that. I think we covered everything.
Oh, okay. All right. So, all right. Be right back, guys.
What did I do with the chat?
I don't think we finished everything about the Sackler family. I got some notes. They said in 2007, the Purdue Pharma family paid $600 million in fine. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, that was the first group of lawsuits they had?
Yeah. So, I mean, like $600 million after they made like billions of dollars, because billion is a big number.
It is.
That's just basically like pocket change for them. It's like finding like a nickel in your pocket. $600 million. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, they eat that for breakfast. That is nothing.
Mm-hmm. But then, like by 2019, well, what I read, Purdue is drowning in legal troubles and files for bankruptcy. The Sacklers agreed to a multi-billion-dollar settlement, but here's the kicker. They admit that they didn't do nothing wrong. So that was like the main shit. And the people are like, what the fuck? You got the whole America addicted on a damn painkiller, dude.
Right? Just the biggest, like, this country spends millions and billions of dollars to lock up drug dealers off the street and make them serve extreme sentences for selling drugs. A lot of these people that sell drugs, and I know people who sell drugs. Used to, not anymore.
What's their name?
I don't know. I used to know people that sold drugs. I used to live next to people that sold drugs, and these people that sold drugs, they never. If they could live a different life and have it differently, have it a little bit easier, and not just be out here slinging this shit, they would take the opportunity. But because the less opportunity that they have, and it's harder for them to get them jobs because sometimes maybe they fucked up their lives as a teenager, they have to find an alternative means of finding, an income. Selling drugs happens to be one of them things. I feel like a lot of times, especially when it comes to common folks down here on the bottom with us that sell drugs, there should be more of a fight or a system to help people in poverty, and maybe that would alleviate people from having to turn to selling drugs and stuff like that. But instead, this country likes to throw people in jail for it. Meanwhile, the biggest drug dealers probably in America, actually in all of American history, would be the Sacklers. And they're not going to go to jail for it, which is a sad reality of it. I think they're going to just try to tie up all these legal shit in court as much as they can. That's what a lot of these corporations like to do. sit around and keep getting themselves dragged into court. Because every time you go to court, you got to pay for that shit. The shit ain't free. And a lot of times they like to burn out people that try to put up these lawsuits and just wait them out because they can afford to wait them out. They'll pay for every single damn court case as long as they can even keep it from, reaching the point where it needs to reach.
It's very expensive. Even if you're trying to attack like a big ass company, it's like, okay, you better have a big ass wallet at the same time because you're paying all the fees to be in court. And this is why a lot of people like they give up on battling with these big companies because they don't have the wallet is not that big to even battle these companies.
Right, they're just financially holding. I know one dude who's like a really good expert at doing this shit was like Donald Trump. He would get into with contractors that would build his buildings and he would stall them out in the courts and eventually be like, well, shit, we got to drop the case because we can't afford to keep going to courts. I didn't even know it was a thing until I heard he did it. I was like, holy shit, this is like actual thing. You can just stall people out. And it made sense because like, well, if you can afford it, then why would not do it? You probably got to pay more anyways in a lawsuit. So just stall them out in the courts.
Jeez.
Because sometimes he wouldn't show up to the court, and they'd be like, oh, can't do court today. They didn't show up, or this, that, and the third. Whatever reason, keep stalling, keep pushing back the dates. And the next day, you're like, well, fuck, I can't afford to do this. I'm going to lose my damn contract.
I think like that's like the big thing. That's why like these big companies like they have like a big hold on, like let's say like you're doing like a low case where something happens, like an accident happens like at a store or something, right? You have the upper hand because you have like the money to uphold like every time like you do like a trial, right? You can afford to pay all that shit. You can afford the lawyers and everything, but can like the normal person afford all that?
Not at all. Most people can't even afford a single court case, let alone multiple.
So that normal person, whatever happened to them, they have to have like their case like solid, and they have to have all the evidence where it even makes sense for them to even go to trial, like with a big company, right? Like a big multi-million-dollar company.
Right. You better have all your shit in order.
Yeah, like your shit, it has to be like legit. Like, hey, this shit happened to me, and it's rare, but like it does happen, like where the people get paid for that.
Yeah, just gotta hold out, fight. And it sounds like too with the Sackler family, it seems like with all these lawsuits coming at them, it's so overwhelming that now they're trying to like it might be almost too much for them at this point. Hence the reason why they're trying to do like the whole, Chapter 11, trying to dodge this bullet. And so, the corporation can take the hit, but them as individuals, they can go off in their merry own way and then never be held accountable for it. But I'm not surprised that they act like this because even before then, the parents and then the people that came before them, the Arthurs and the Mortimers, they was always like that too when it came to this, pushing these products out there on the people. Of like, well, shit, it's their fault. Well, it's not the drug's fault. It's not our fault that it's addictive. It's their fault that they don't know how to stop. It's the individual person's issue, not ours. It seems that type of like psychotic mentality is genetic because they're acting the same fucking way too about it. Of like, well, shit, sorry people, just because our shit has like a 99% addiction rate. Because I remember hearing back years ago when you deal with a lot of this shit or whatever, the addiction rate is incredibly high, man. It's insanely high, and it's. Why? Like, would you not want to, like... I wonder, when people are this rich and powerful, what do they know about the afterlife that we don't know? You know what I'm saying? It's like, do they not care? Like, if anyone believes there's like a judgment or anything after this, do they not care? Do they not believe in anything? Or what's their on a moral stance on human life sometimes? Because when I hear these stories, I'm like, bro, like, you have killed more people than I've ever heard of any story of what a drug dealer has ever killed in this country. 400,000, and that's just right now. There's no telling how many more is out there who probably still gonna keep dying from this. So it's.
I don't think they care about anybody like that, dude. Like the main thing is like the money, and then how they can take down a whole community of people and then just bring their vibration down, right? Because if you're taking like these drugs, right, to make yourself, let's say, okay, my arm hurts. You take this drug, okay, my arm doesn't hurt no more, right? Everybody says taking these drugs like just to alleviate like a lot of pain, and it works, and then it's good. Everybody gets addicted to that shit, dude. If you think about it, dude, like if you're in the business of alleviating people's pain, but then getting them addicted to it. Like, you think they're doing this for like the right reason? If you think about it, like, all right, I'm alleviating their pain, right? But at the same time, I'm getting them addicted to a drug. I cannot fix them, but I got rid of their pain, like temporarily, but I got them addicted to a drug.
Yeah. No, you ain't doing nobody any favors at all.
I mean, if you think about it, like, what can you actually like really do, right? If you're like if you work in the pharmaceutical company, right?
As far as like you talk about, as like a top like CEO type of person, or
yeah, like, okay, like you can fix somebody's problem like temporarily, like put a band-aid on it, like, okay, I fixed your pain is gone, but it's only gonna be gone for like 8 hours. You gotta keep taking this pill. It's like, I'm helping you, but I was like, I don't know like what else to do, because I'm helping you, but I know this is gonna be addictive because it's gonna keep helping you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is always because like the pharmaceutical companies are selling the products to other organizations, and it seemed like these organizations, like these hospitals and stuff, like for example, like this Life Tree clinic that I was watching on Crime of the Century documentary. Life Tree, you know, they took on the Purdue OxyContin product at their clinic. And the CEO, one of the main dudes at the like, I don't think he's even CEO, but he was one of the main dudes at the time.
My bad.
Bless you.
Thank you.
That almost scared me. The guy
my chest hurt now.
That's a good sneeze. I think he's like the CEO of the Life Tree Clinic. He was one of the guys that was like okaying it to say, hey, let's bring this product in, and we'll sell it cheap, and then we'll sell it at a higher rate, and then you get the money to do. It's all like a business transaction, as long as they was pushing the drug out to us. And when lawsuits started coming at him, he was always trying to say like, well, I would try to tell him like, hey, you can only take this twice a day. If you take it more than twice a day, then you're gonna die, and that's on their hands. But I feel like if that product is that dangerous and it can cause people to, because like there was times where like for example like the lady Curl I was talking about in the beginning of this episode, the lady named Curl, when she was getting high and she didn't know where she was at, and she was found collapsed all over the house when she was coming to and all this other stuff. While she was high, she was actively always asking her husband, I need some more. I need. Where's my pills at? I need some more. And husband's like, look, no, like you don't need to know, like you don't need to have any more. No, I need some more. Give me my pills. What time is it? I need my pills. Always looking for it. When she finally came off her high, she was like, I don't remember anything. So, if it gets to that point, a good person would try to push the take off the market. Like, hey, like we're killing people out here. We're turning them into addicts. We're killing them. But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of shit falls on the government. The government sets up guardrails for this stuff, and the government's the only people that can really stop these people from doing it. But if they're doing this shit, that means the government's allowing them to do this shit on some level.
Right.
Way too much money involved. And
I think that's been happening for decades now.
Straight up.
I think that's the big problem, is it being allowed to happen. Because even though the Sackler families, right, they're out of the picture, the whole opioid crisis is still happening. Like, there is a demand for these medications because of the people that's dealing with all these issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a demand for these medications.
Massive demand.
They started that shit, right? And now, like, dude, like, dude, it gets so hard too, man. Because there is, like, legit cases where people actually needs to alleviate their pain, and then they need these pain medications, but then they get denied, like when they go to the pharmacy, right? And they get denied, like, for whatever wild reason.
Yeah.
And then the people that actually needs the medication to actually live a regular life, they get denied. And then these are the people where I was like, okay, I feel sorry for this shit. Like, the whole situation, like, I guess because the whole thing is messed up, dude. The whole, like, how they did, they actually demonized the whole opioid shit. because like the whole shit is it's not all about people abusing like medication for, you know, for pain, right? There's real people that actually needs this medication like for pain.
Right.
Yeah, that's like the main shit. I was like, holy shit, like it's almost like they fucked up the whole story because there's real people, legit people that actually needs the medication to alleviate pain. But then the people that don't need it for like the pain and stuff, they paint like a bad picture for the whole everything. All of it is like a, and then it puts a bad picture on the whole opioid crisis because there is legit people that needs this shit to alleviate their pain, and that 100%. I agree. Go ahead.
I think there might be other options for it too. I don't know if they need to restructure it, the drug, or what they need to do, but because like there's been over 200,000 people that have died who actually were prescribed the drug itself, like as in they actually had injuries. So out of the 400,000, half of them did die of actually it being prescribed by a doctor because of an injury or something. Now the other half is probably was getting through like a friend or just off in the street. So it's kind of like you can roll the dice on, hey, yeah, people who didn't need it to give it a bad name, but there have been people who died who were prescribed it, and when they were having bad side effects from it, like getting high and being addicted, doctors still kept pushing on them. Like, good, but even when people were feeling like, hey, doc, I feel like this is hurting me. I feel like I'm getting addicted. I'm blacking out. I'm not remembering where I'm at. I'm waking up in weird spots in my house. I don't need to be prescribed this anymore. Can I get something else? And the doctor at the Life Tree Center was like, well, no, you have to take this and you need to do what I say. And so the lady was like, okay. And eventually she wound up ODing off of it. So
dude, yeah. It's a very fine line. Yeah.
I think we have to find a better way to help people than using a drug that, like, I wish we had like a magic mushroom, like the TV show, the animated show. I forget the name of it right now. The animated mushroom show that I can't remember it right now, but I wish we had something like that. Yeah, I wish we could. I think they just finished the season 2. I think they're done.
Yeah, they're done. I told Chad about it. But yeah, dude, that whole shit is messy, dude.
It is.
It's very messy. The whole opioid stuff is so messy, man. And I mean, what can we do, right?
Talk about it, bring awareness to it. The more people know, when people know more about things like, you know, things that hurt us as a collective, as a society, it does shift the consciousness a little bit, and it causes these corporations, because they're here to stay. I mean, they gotta be here at this point. But if more people do know about the things, even us just talking about it, or how many people have even listened to this shit at all, the fact that we even have a discussion about it just shows like, hey, it's still a type of communication going on about it, because more and more people are starting to find out more and more how bad these pharmaceutical companies are anyway, especially with the whole Luigi Mangiano situation with healthcare and stuff. It's kind of opening light to like, hey, people, they've been fucking us over for a long time. And it's causing corporations to kind of like back off and take CEOs off their websites. And it's like, I wish these corporations were decent people who had souls, but apparently being a good person and having that much money a lot of times don't really come together all the time. So it's like, shit, the people gotta start getting upset and talking about this shit, spread awareness more about it. Because I've seen how this shit can be with healthcare. Like I've mentioned before, like when my dad was in hospital, I saw his hospital bill. That shit was like almost $1 million. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's so much shit these CEOs do to us little people. And if we talk about it, it does spread more awareness and puts people on notice that, you know, it's more of us than there is of them, and they shouldn't be able to we shouldn't just have to die and be quiet about it, you know? Especially if something that can be fixed, because this is all fixable. This could all be fixed. It's just that we have a greedy ass government that's cool with just letting other corporations do whatever they want. You get mess like this going on. I hope we can get better in the next several years or whatever. I don't know what's going on, because
yeah. So like basically, like this whole story that you told was basically on like greed, right? Mm-hmm. Power, zero accountability. No one's trying to take responsibility for whatever happened, which was with the Sackler family, even to the end, after they got sued and they got fined for all these billions of dollars. At the end of the day, they're saying that they weren't responsible for like the actions of these people
at all.
And they walked away, right, without doing probably no jail time, because they paid millions and millions of dollars to get out of this shit.
Mm-hmm. Jail is for the poor.
Jail is for the poor, dude.
That shit was not made for them.
Yeah, they're like, get those shackles off of me.
Go build this IKEA table.
It's like, I just paid $600 million in fines. That's crazy, right? Like, let's say you're like double, triple, quadruple murder, but then there's a price tag for you to get out, and it's like, I don't know, $100 million.
Shit. It's a lot.
Yeah, like, what the hell? Like, okay, let's say a billionaire want to kill like a whole bunch of people because they wanted to, because you get that shit off their chest. But then they get to walk off free because they're like a billionaire.
They can afford to do it.
Is that crazy?
Planet Earth has become a pay-to-play type of place.
It's a pay-to-play like so easily.
You better have all the DLCs, and you have to pay for this shit. And if you can't afford it, then I guess you're stuck on this shitty planet.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I got another story. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. We'll be right back, guys. All right, and we are back for the next topic of the night. All right, so we're gonna be talking about the CIA. They confirmed that the Ark of the Covenant exists using remote viewing. Then all this was resurfaced by a declassified documents that has a claim on everything that the CIA was doing probably over 20, 30 years ago.
You want to know something?
What?
I got the same topic too.
Oh, like for the next topic?
Yeah, that was going to be my next topic. What's going to be this?
Okay, we're good.
Good.
All right, so the story was back in 1980s. The CIA, they was knee deep in the psychic experiment, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they were legit government funding. They spent all this money on psychics. So, like, as a part of like you ever heard of it? They called it Project Sunstreak. Have you ever heard of that?
No, not till I found out about this earlier. I just found it out like an hour before the podcast. I was like, what?
Yeah, so they call it like Project Sunstreak, where they had a remote viewer who was basically like a psychic detective, and then they wanted him to locate the Ark of the Covenant. This was way back then in the 1980s.
Mm.
And we were born in the 1980s, right?
Yeah.
So, like, imagine, like, the CIA, right? 1980s, they're doing, like, this secret program. And we're just babies. We're just barely born, right? And they're doing these programs a long time ago. Like, there's this psychic known as viewer number 32. He was, like, their best psychic viewer, where he can do, like, a remote viewing on, like, certain locations in the world, right? This is in the 80s. And they told him to go look at this one location. And then he ended up describing like this gold chest that was decorated in wood seraphim, hidden underground in a dark place near a dome-shaped building. Possibly, like, it could be a mosque.
Oh, underground?
Underground somewhere. Somebody, because like the people... Like, if you believe it or not, right, like the whole Ark of the Covenant, right, like for a country to believe that or not believe that, if you had a whole team to go see, like, hey, is the Ark of the Covenant, is that real? Like, can we go investigate this? They had a whole team, like, in the U.S. government where they're like, all right, let's find this. And this was like in the 80s.
Right.
Go find this mysterious object. And then some dude who was like a legit, like a remote viewer, was able to locate a device, or not device, but an object that it matches up to what the Ark of the Covenant would have been, which is like a golden box, like filled with whatever, we don't know what it is, but the Ark of the Covenant is known to hold like all this. It's like the holy grail of whatever that was hidden from our past.
Yeah, because with the whole Ark of the Covenant situation, it's actually considered. Cause I was looking this up too. Because I was like, I found this story out right before the podcast started. I was like, shit, let me look up some stuff right quick. Because I looked up stuff about Ark of the Covenant just to have a better understanding of what exactly this shit is, and they was talking about how like the Ark of the Covenant, considered the holiest object in Judaism, was built by the Israelites around the 13th century BCE. According to the Bible, Moses is said to have placed the stone tablets inscribed with the Ten Commandments inside the Ark. It was housed in the Holy of Holies and an inner chamber in the Temple of Jerusalem until it vanished during the Babylonian conquest in 586 BCE. And since then, there's been stories of it traveling around the world, was bouncing around at. And there's always been theories of where the Ark of the Covenant has been at. But to this day, still no one knows where it's at. And I guess the CIA was like, yeah, we need to get the Ark of the Covenant. We need to bust out number 32 from my old files. Because I'm assuming number 32 is from MK Ultra era.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's from that era where he's like probably a little boy then. 80s, a grown man. You'll call him up. I know he got wife and kids. Look, to say the catchphrase on the phone,
dude.
He'll be
like,
here.
I think what like these people that they're doing like the whole remote viewing, they were enhanced with like LSD, which is like a drug where it enhances your ability to see further into whatever you're trying to do, right? So like I think LSD like had a lot to do with like this whole claims of like these people able to see, you know, like places that they were not even supposed to be supposed to even be going to, like in the amount of like Jerusalem. I imagine like going to like the Temple Mount of Jerusalem.
And then just boom, and you just looking around, seeing everything.
Yeah, you're just looking around, but you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, like at all, like, because I always wouldn't like with LSD. Okay, for us normies out there that make to LSD, we probably trip off, whatever. But what if I was wondering, like, if LSD makes people trip really bad or whatever, what would that do to someone who can maybe does the LSD help enhance their abilities? Like they've always had these abilities in them to maybe have a psychic connection, and LSD helps enhance it. Does do they help? Could they guide through LSD the effects of LSD better than a normal brain would? I always do wonder that. Like, why is LSD like the catalyst for remote viewing?
Dude, I have no idea, man.
You gotta be special to we'll give LSD, and if you'll trip out, you trip out, that's fine, whatever. But
right.
There's a tiny, very tiny, less than 1% of the population that if you take LSD, they can navigate through that shit and be like boom, 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 wherever we want. It just needs a little drug to give them pick me up.
I think like the big thing is like loyalty. Cause like if you ever took like an LSD trip, right, and you hit like this massive trip where you're actually seeing like real shit to where you can't explain like for yourself, you're like, how can I tell anybody else about this shit to where they can actually even believe me? Right, because you're seeing like a whole nother life. You're seeing a whole nother like a gang of people right behind you. They know everything about you, dude. They're telling everything about you, like, and then you're looking back, right? You're like, holy shit, how do you know all this shit about me? It's like, because we are you. Everything is like you and shit, right? And then you come back into this world and you're trying to explain to people, like, damn, like, nothing actually even really makes sense.
Nah, once you come back.
Yeah, you come back, like, how can you even explain that, right?
Right, unless somebody else went on a trip, that'd be about it.
Dude, that's the only way. It's like you pray to God, like, okay, I can have somebody take this trip with me, and then they can see what I see, right? Because if they can't see what I see, then it doesn't make no sense. So then you come back to this world like, oh fuck, right? They
How do I
cannot.
explain it?
It's like they cannot believe what I'm saying, right? Because I'm seeing this on like a whole nother perspective, like a whole nother, I don't know, like a different vibration or whatever it is. I'm seeing it different, and I can't explain it to you guys. That's the hard
it's like
part.
one of the things. It's like one of the things where people experience like trauma or something like fascinating or whatever, and it's like, well, tell us what happened. It's like,
Right.
I can't explain it in words. Like I can't. It was like how can you explain a feeling that I felt?
Yeah, that's so hard.
Hard is
You
there's
cannot,
no really
yeah,
word
you
for
cannot explain that feeling. Like, how?
Totally experience it.
Like, for example, like, let's say, like, you died, right? You had a near-death experience. How do you explain that to somebody?
Oh man,
Like, I'm sure you can, but with all the details and stuff, like, there's no way you can get all that detail with the moment where you died,
and it came back.
you saw the afterlife, and then you came back, and you're like, holy shit, they're putting me back in this body again.
Everything hurts.
And now I can talk about it or not, because like, let's say like you're in a position where even if you talk about it, nobody's gonna believe you, right? So that's why I think like this time, like in our society where we have all the podcasts, all the people doing all this stuff on, social media, I think like this stage where somebody has like a near-death experience, they can explain their near-death experience like to somebody on a podcast, and it can be streamed out to the whole world.
Oh yeah, somebody's gonna go straight to the podcast, not to the news, to a podcast.
Right, like to the people that needs to hear it, because it doesn't even need to be like, oh, it needs to be go viral or whatever. Like, it just, somebody has like a near-death experience, right? They like, all right, I drowned. This is what happened to me, or like I was shot in the head, but I survived. But this is my near-death experience, and this is what I saw.
Right.
And there's a whole community for that.
Like I saw the other side.
Yeah, they literally saw the other side, and
Other side podcast.
I heard a lot of stories, man. I heard a lot of stories of people who went to the other side, and I'm like, damn, it's so crazy, because I think I listened to more stories than they even listened to. Because the crazy thing about this whole shit, right? I listened to like, let's say like, I probably listened to like 300 stories about people who have near-death experience. Mm-hmm. Dude, 90%, they're all saying the same shit.
What?
And I guarantee you, they never even met each other.
What are
They're
saying?
saying the same shit. Like, on the other side, everybody meets you like a family, right? Your family's waiting for you on the other side. They're like cheering you on. It's like you're playing like this huge game, right? It's like you chose to play the hardest game, and then when you're done, the family on the other side,
For everyone that came
dude,
before you.
they're like, dude, spaceships are ready. Everybody's like, everybody's there, dude. It's so crazy. Everybody's there, and then, dude, I remember seeing this shit, dude. And everybody's there for you, and then like, fuck, like you play this fucking, like you play like the hardest class, and then you're here now.
Welcome.
And I was like, dude, this is crazy. So I was like, the whole thing is like a game the whole time. Like, how do you react to like stuff like the whole time?
He's like, none of this is real.
Yeah, and I saw that maybe prematurely, right? Like, I saw that prematurely because what I saw was like stuff that I think people who died, they saw this stuff, and I don't think I was supposed to see that.
You peek behind the curtains.
Yeah, I was behind the curtains, dude. I was like, bloop. I was like, no, that's not it.
What's
was
going on back
crazy.
here?
Yeah. So I always wondered about that, like with my own life. I was like, like what am I supposed to do in this life, dude? Still to this day, man.
Live.
Yeah. How? What do I do?
What makes you happy? Do what makes you happy, I guess.
There you go.
I don't know. Humans. I've learned over the years, humans are very, very, extremely complicated, complex creatures. Like in so many different ways. It's hard to narrow down by just saying, "Hey, man, do what makes you happy." Sasha even said that because it's kind of like it's life is a little bit different for everybody else, and everybody. It's easy to just say like, "Go make yourself happy." When I don't know. I always found out when I was younger, like, hey, love myself first, and then other people will love me. So I mean, that's helped out a lot for me in my life. So I guess I don't know. I should not be a life coach. I don't know.
It's hard because I don't think anybody knows, right?
No.
Like at the end of the day, right? Like, come on, like you can find like a life coach that can do like they can tell you the perfect thing you can do in your life.
Nah.
That's impossible, dude, because you literally have to live through your own life to figure all this shit out, right?
Yeah, but also too, I've always heard this saying like, a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistake of others. And I was always trying to move like that. Where I've seen like people make mistakes, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. They look miserable, and I know I'm not gonna like that. So it's kind of like, I don't have good intuition in life sometimes to get through it.
Yeah.
Instincts.
But yeah, what was that topic I was doing?
Oh, the actual so the Ark of the Covenant, a remote viewing thing.
Yeah,
Remote
so
viewing?
they never actually found it
No, so like so
on
when the guy
paper.
did yeah, on paper, they got some documents they found where the remote viewer number 32, he actually drew pictures of like the underground cavern and stuff, and he's like when he drew the pictures, he was talking about like how in my vision I saw like mummies all around the side of it, like just mummies all around the Ark of the Covenant. And so they're saying right now it's somewhere out there in the Middle East, underground somewhere, because he said it was hidden under a subterranean, dark and wet area. And he said, but the location he can never discover for sure. But he knows underground, and he says the viewer perceived the presence of the protective entities. So when he's like saw like to his view, he saw protective entities around the Ark of the Covenant, like
That's
like
the
guards.
thing I was talking about.
About the guards there.
Yeah, like the whole thing about like the whole area being like protected by certain entities, right? Like you cannot see. Dude, like I had this vision about that whole shit where like things like that's really important is really protected, like not just protected like physically with people with guns and whatever badges, right? It was protected like spiritually,
Yeah.
with like people that was like on a different realm, and they were protecting like the stuff like physically, like not physically, like spiritually, where they couldn't touch it because they're being protected.
Yeah, there's like viewer 32 was saying that that it was that they had saw protective entities around the actual Ark of the Covenant, and entities when he got close to it, they started warnings that's giving him warnings saying that anyone attempting to unauthorized access to the Ark would be destroyed by the protectors of the container by force unknown to us. Says additionally, remote viewer 32 suggested that the site was populated by Arabic-speaking individuals dressed in all white, with visuals indicating the presence of a mosque or domes. So it's protected by people, and I guess when the closer you get to the Ark, it's like a video game. You gotta fight the soldiers first, and then when you get down there, I gotta fight this big boss, and there's like a bunch of them here, and they are the true protectors of it. They sounds like the Arabic community is protecting this spot in this vision.
Dude,
They ready to fight.
you know what's crazy, right? You can look at on our old podcast, like a long time ago, I said that like there's people that's protecting the Washington Monument, or like the people that's in like in like the whole area where there's people protecting what's the word?
Trying to think.
What what's the word? Like where they protected like, oh shit.
Like they're trying to get to like as like a location or something.
No, like the area, like in Washington, right?
Oh no, Washington.
Right. Like the whole area is protected. I talked about this a long time ago, even before this podcast. The whole area is protected, like mentally through some type of. It's not witchcraft. It's like people that understands like the whole frequency of everything. Like they're controlling everything.
Okay, so they like
holy shit! I'm okay. I'm like logging on to like another another wavelength.
So it's like a frequency thing, like with the protection of it.
Yeah, like
so all of DC. That's crazy.
Yo, dude, it's weird. They blocked my whole brain. I can't even talk about it. Dude, it's weird. I can't. Like, I had a whole shit, everything.
Signal blocked.
Yeah, I had everything. Like, I was gonna tell you guys everything, but dude, I can't say shit right now. Like, my brain's like, bloop. It's weird. It's so weird right now. It's so crazy.
It's like brain blocked.
Holy shit! I was gonna tell you guys. That's so weird, dude. I think we're good for today.
I think we're good.
Dude, because my brain, I feel like that shit locked. Like, bloop.
Just hit a wall.
Bloop. Yeah, it's like a fucking blocked on my brain right now. Because I still have notes on this whole shit. Okay.
The brain was like, closing.
Dude, that's so weird. That's so weird. Fuck. That's so weird.
Brain turned on that open, close sign.
Yeah, it should close. All right, we'll catch you guys next week on Wednesday. Peace out. Adios.
Yes, sir. See you guys.